All right, so I think we got most of the functionalities for the chat app. And another thing I want to show is the how do we actually handle the images and files. So at least I see two use cases with images. Number one, you can actually change your profile picture. Right now, it's always a default placeholder icon. And number two, when we're sending message, we can also try to send a image. All right, but then to deal with either cases, you will need to know how do we take a picture, but more importantly, how do we actually save the picture, because you cannot just save the picture locally. The picture must go to the cloud so that everyone can load the picture using a URL. Right, so in that case, we will need to use something called a Firebase storage, and which is a very cool service that allows you to save the image to the cloud and then get a public URL very easily. All right, so let's actually start to build that. So in this lesson, we're gonna just build something very quick to add it to your own profile, so that you can then test it your photo taking feature. Right, so right now we can do a profile by going to the sign up process and type the email and password and name. But what if I log in, I want to edit my profile, right? So if you want to do that, and let's actually enable some buttons, since we already put the button right here. Maybe we can add the app bar to actually show that button so that we can start kind of editing it. All right, so I'm going to go back to the scaffold. I will just add app bar. All right, and then for the app bar, I think we need some kind of icon here. So let's actually Google a little bit. So Flutter app bar button. I see any kind of examples. All right, something like this. We can put like a little setting button that's right, and then to trigger something, right? So app bar here, you can do a title, you can do an actions. I think action will have a different kind of a menu thing here. All right, so let's just do an action and see, and then put the action button there. All right, so let's go back to code right here. And so it's actions. So you're gonna have a list of, we'll try icon button. Icon button, I think I need the icon. And then let's do a profile or user. So verify user, something like that, or we'll just do an edit. All right, try this one. Refresh that. All right, so let's try this. Okay, so this is still the iPhone. I have to rebuild this for the iOS. All right, for the Android. All right, so go here, log in. I'll still use user8 gmail.com, and then here is 1 2 3 4 5 6. Log in. All right, so here's a little app bar, and we can put a title also just to make it look better. Okay, so this is like friend list. Oh, this is not the, I think it's called a tags. Right. All right, so there is a friend list. So let's restart this screen here. And a bar, the title is not showing up. All right, so let's see what's wrong with that one. Title, a bar. Is this because of the color? Actually, let's see. Listed view, we're adding the title, and now, well, how about this button here? Let's actually try to add on click. Make sure we can actually take changes. All right, so then print clicked. All right, so yeah, so this is not taking effect. Oh, it's still synchronized to iPhone. That's why, actually. All right, so I'm gonna actually stop the iPhone. Actually, let's open the iPhone. So that one should work, right? So let's actually try this one. I go back. Yeah, there's a friend list, and then you can click on this one. So this one already works. So in order to be consistent, I'm still gonna use Android to test it. All right, so I will just run this from scratch. Make sure all the changes can be picked up. All right. So while we're waiting, okay, so once you click on this button, I'm gonna bring another screen to show the profile screen. Okay, so I'll create another start. All right, so user profile page. All right, so again, do the same process, user profile page. All right, and then let's actually do here import material design, and everything's done. And here we're gonna do a scaffold, and we need a body here. All right, we'll do a center, and then we'll do a column. All right, just to show, show the name and email, and also phone number. All right, just some kind of placeholders. Column, and then column have children. All right, so, and then let's make sure we can start and go to the next screen. All right, so let's actually copy the navigator code and go to the next one. And the next screen is called user profile page. This one here. All right, so let's try this. Refresh the code. I'm gonna go ahead and log in. user8gmail.com, and then here is 1 2 3 4 5 6. Log in. All right, so we got a nice bar here, and then edit button. I click on that one, and you can see all this little attributes here, right? So let's start with some of these attributes, and then we obviously want to make sure that this one loading the actual content, right? So by the way, let's actually center this one. So this one is the main axis alignment. Let's center it. All right, so first of all, I need to load all the name, email, and the phone number from the cloud, right? So in order to do that, you will need to pass the current UID. Even though you already got this one from the screen here, I can always reload it and then update it, right? So I can just from here, I will pretty much use the same piece of code, or I can just do that again. All right, so I will come back to the user profile page. All right, so let's actually write a constructor, or maybe we just do the initialize state. Okay. All right, so once we get here, all right, so we would like to get the current user. So let's try this. So Firebase authentication and current user. For the current user, it's going to return us the actual Firebase user. All right, so if you look at the previous code, then once you got this Firebase user, then you can do .uid, and that's how you can get the UID, right? So let's try this again. All right, so the UID will be value.uid. All right, so once you have this, I also want to load all the profile information from the database. So I need to do the Firebase database reference dot child. I'm going to specify something called friends. That's where we save everything, plus this UID. All right, so that's going to give us all the user information, and I'm going to do the once, and then to read it, after that I'll do then, so that I can grab that data snapshot, and then I'll also handle error. All right, clean the indentation. Now I'm going to print fail to get the user information. All right, so this one here, we're going to print ds dot value and also key and value, right? So the value will have all the user information based on this UID. And then from there, we can actually save the whole user information, user profile, to using the value, so that we can get all the attributes. This is going to be a map. So right here, I can try to use this one to show it, like the name will be user profile name, and then the email will be user profile email, and also the phone number. All right. Now, in order to be safe, after this, we'll do a set state. All right, let's see if that works. So refresh the page, go back, log in, and then go to edit. All right, so this one, we're loading all the information here, okay? So obviously, you can turn this into an edit box so that you can edit them, but I'm gonna do more things here. I will focus on the image part. So let's say I wanna display an avatar image at the top here. All right, so let's add a avatar image. All right, so we actually have done this before. Avatar, circle avatar. All right, so let's try how this one works. So the circle avatar, and then that one takes just a URL right here. Okay, so let's do this one here, and then URL. The URL will be based on the user profile, right? So it's actually based on the user profile. We're going to assume that it's going to be having an image, right? But obviously we didn't provide this one before. So if this one is null, then we actually need to give a placeholder, right? So for example, if you do right now, it's not going to work because this one is null, right? So we're going to say if this one is null, all right, so we are going to provide a default one, so which coming from here. All right, otherwise we'll just use this one. Okay, so just do a quick check right here. All right, so refresh. Okay, so this one is like this. We can do this one a little bit bigger. I think there should be a size, or maybe we can wrap that with a container to see if that makes better. So if we do a container, okay, so we do a height 100 and the width 100. That actually, yeah, that one will be a little bit better. Okay, so a very simple and quick profile page here that allows us to play around with it. All right, so that is the avatar, circle avatar. So what we want to do next is actually to, if we want to replace this avatar, okay, I'm going to click on this button, click on this image, and then to trigger some kind of maybe take a picture. And then we want to save that picture and send that picture to the cloud. All right, so let's see actually how that works. Okay, now to enable taking a picture, actually let's first enable clicking this circle avatar, right? So to click on this one, let's see where we can register the click listener. Let's actually see if anything here, right? So let's actually Google it, Flutter circle avatar on pressed. So on click event, actually let's see what's will be the answer. So you can do something called a gesture detector. Okay, so you can wrap that with a gesture detector. I think that's a better way to go. So I'm gonna make that in the either container or it's actually the avatar. So maybe let's do the avatar here. Okay, so I'll just wrap it. So use the helper here, and I wrap it with gesture detector, and then inside here there's something called untap. And that's when you can do a little listener. All right, so click. All right, so that's, you can do it. Now we're gonna use this one to trigger taking a picture. Now the question here is how do we do the taking picture, right? So let's actually Google it, Flutter take a picture. And there is a complete tutorial talk about this one. Now you obviously need to add a bunch of dependencies, do some of the setup. Okay, so it shouldn't be too bad. Let's actually follow this. So the dependencies that you will need are three. So you need a camera, you need a path provider, and also the path. I think these are dealing with all the path file system where you save the images, right? So let's actually add these three. So camera, path provider, and path. All right. And also for Android, you need to make sure this is the version. For the iOS, you also need to add something here to enable that, right? So let's try this one by one. So camera, let's try to see the version. So you click on install and just copy. I normally just copy the latest version. So go right here, go to the YAML file. Let's add the camera. Okay, this is one. Now you need path provider. For path provider, it is installing using this version here. All right, and then you got a path installing and this right here. All right, so let's actually get all the packages. Now once this is done, make sure the minimum SDK version is 21. I think that should be the case. Let's go up here, go to the build.gradle file. Minimum version is, oh, we actually do need to change it to 21. All right, so let's update that one. All right, so after that we get a list of available camera. This is the code, and also there are some code to actually take a picture screen, you need a specific screen to handle that. And also there's a preview class that deals with the camera feed. So it looks like you got to program everything. Okay, so eventually I think there is a complete code. Now this code here, there's some kind of initialization code right here. There is a particular screen to deal with the whole picture taking. All right, so let's actually try this thing here. Okay, so I'm going to create a class to put the take picture screen class here somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to create a new file. All right, so take picture page. All right, so with that, I'm going to basically copy this whole thing. All right, so and then with all the import stuff, I should use some of those. All right, so this is the dependency and everything here. Let's go through the code very quick. Okay, so here's you take a picture as a screen, you start that, and then you pass the key. You have to pass the camera here. Okay, once you pass the camera, you actually create a state here. Now the state have a camera controller, and then there is an initialize controller future, and then you get everything initialized here, and you got a little bit of UI, and then here's the screen. I think there's some kind of title here. This is where to show the image. Oh, this is actually the screen that shows the picture you're taking, right? So that's how it works. Let's see actually how do we trigger it. Okay, so I think we're just triggering this with a take a picture screen, and then you pass a camera. And then let's see if we can actually do this one in our current screen here. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the user profile, and then when I click on the button, I want to start that process. So let's see if I can get the camera from right here. Okay, get available camera. Now we don't have this. We need to import the asynchronized library. We need to import the camera. All right, so from here, and this one here had to be synchronized, so that means your method need to be asynchronized. All right, so you do this one here, and then from there we are going to basically send the call and then pass the camera. So when you're taking the starting the screen, so we'll just use the so we actually need to save the first camera because you might have multiple cameras, and then we go to the next screen. Let's try that. So going to the next screen, let's find again the navigator code to go to the next screen. All right, so it's actually take user profile page right here, and once you get a camera, okay, so we're going to go to the next screen, and this screen is going to call the take picture screen, and then we're going to pass the camera, the first camera. I think it's called camera. All right, so let's see if that actually works. Okay, so I'm gonna, to be safe, I'm gonna restart it because there are a bunch of new dependencies. And meanwhile, you will need to also enable the emulator's take a picture function. I think there's some default thing we can use. All right, let's actually try that. All right, so the app is starting. All right, and we're gonna go and log in with our user8@gmail.com, and then here's 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then log in. And then from here, I go to the edit the profile. I'm going to click on this button right here. All right, so it actually started triggering, ask you the permission. I'm going to allow this one here. All right, so this is just a simulated camera view. Looks good. And then I'm going to click on this one here, and then we can start to take a picture. This is just a simulated view. Okay, I'm going to take a picture. That's the button. All right, so now we save the picture right here, and then you can use that one for whatever purpose you want, right? So let's say this is the image I got. All right, so everything works perfect. So I'm gonna go to the take a picture page right here, and eventually what you're seeing here is actually at this screen where you have image pass. Okay, so this is really important because this pass is actually the file pass we have in the device. Okay, so let me just show this one here. So if I change this one into column, I'm going to display that. Okay, I'm going to change this into column. I'm going to put this image right here. I'm also going to do a text just below it. All right, so I'm going to show this image pass. So let's do widget. Oh, okay, so this is in the same screen, so I don't need to do that. Just do the image pass, just to show it. Okay, so let's see if that works. So as you can see, this one does show the actual file pass in the actual phone. So that's where the image has been currently saved. But what we want to do next is actually to send this one into something called Firebase Story, so that we can use that one to display for per file. We can then save a URL per file attribute in the user, and we're gonna see how do we integrate the Firebase Story in the next lesson.